You find me in Barcelona, where I wanted to pick up on a point that I mentioned when I was in Prague, something of which I've been thinking a lot about, which was on the point of architecture. Let's just take a look at that video right now. So Amy has just made a very good point, as we're in Prague, of the architecture here and how modern day architecture isn't the same as what it used to be. I mean, look at this. People actually live in these houses. They live in these buildings. I mean, it's amazing, like the architecture here, of how it hasn't really changed over the past 1,000 years. When you come to a place like this and there isn't a Starbucks on every corner, it just makes it that much more special. But this is the point I wanted to expand on. It's not just something that I noticed in Prague though. I spotted really magnificent architecture in Amsterdam too. The Netherlands are quite amazing when it comes to small space, but have fun ways to utilise it. Like when we were there, we got to see the narrowest house in Amsterdam, but it was noticeable that each house through the bicycle streets had different design peaks to the roofs. All colours were different too. It was something really noticeable coming back to the UK and to feel amazed at seeing this true beauty of design. With architecture in mind, I say hello from Greece. Here we are exploring the magnificent columns of Rhodes, real proof of the beauty of Greek architecture. This is the sort of thing that we should be looking back to. Now, Greek design is known for its timeless elegance. The columns you see here represent centuries of craftsmanship and artistic vision, with reflection of a high regard in order to symmetry. Look at it, truly beautiful. Now, Greek architecture continues to inspire, which I think is what we need to inject back into today's era of buildings and architectural designs. We need to be using more inspiring materials other than grey cement and dull bricks. Greek architecture stands as a testament to how humans used to be proud of their artistic expression. These particular styles have shaped the aesthetic taste of civilizations throughout history. One of the most iconic elements of Greek architecture is the use of its columns. These columns support grand temples and structures which get to showcase a mastery of engineering and aesthetics. It's not just the physical form, but also in its philosophical underpinnings. These took a lot to do, which consisted of balance, symmetry, and the mathematical precision. You can really get a sense of how these can transform our ideas back to a better time of architecture. Think about it. The buildings of today keep us uninspired and are not for any other purpose than to do its job of functionality rather than of its looks. Why do we go to see architecture abroad if it didn't mean something to us? The Eiffel Tower in France, the Colosseum in Rome, the pyramids in Egypt, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Sydney Opera House, the Taj Mahal in India, the Forbidden City in Beijing. You get the point. We are human. We love architecture. We want to be inspired. We want to feel the creative peak of others to help us on our own journey of craftsmanship and artistic vision. Here in Barcelona, the architecture of Spanish influences really play their part in what I'm talking about here. But with every corner we turn, we find more beauty and elegance in the designs, and not just the buildings, but the roads, the pavements, the streets, the bridges, all of which have a purpose, but also which can inspire us. Think about it. If we had beautiful buildings... Try the video in, mate. If we have beautiful buildings and good architecture, more people would be willing to stand up for it and to show their love for what they have in their villages, their towns, their cities. People would love their homes of which they lived. But if they build the same old boring architecture with grey or dull bricks, then you wouldn't care what happens to your hometown politically due to it being like everywhere else. So you just end up moving house instead. You would just think to yourself, I'll let it happen, or I'll let this place get ruined, because you're not defending a place of worth or of value. If I live somewhere like this with Barcelona's beautiful architecture, then I'd definitely go out of my way to defend it if something were to happen to it, like we see in the news every single day. But I really do feel like it's happening on purpose. Why is it happening more now than it ever has with the erection of these boring and dull buildings of today? Had you ever have thought about the side effects that this could have on us? More workspaces have less windows, more factories have less skylights. With less daylight, we could lose our ability to know what time of day it is. They famously do this in Vegas for the exact reason of gambling, so you lose track of time and end up spending more money in the casinos. Less natural light, more confusion, more feelings of anxiety and stress. Also, dull architecture could feel less welcoming. Think about it. Large concrete buildings with few glass windows is still not something that draws us in. Unlike this, dull buildings can trigger feelings of boredom, sadness, and make us less enthusiastic. When surrounded by uninspiring buildings, we may lack the experience of motivation. Buildings that lack human-scale features or communal spaces can contribute to a sense of isolation and disconnection from other people. This can impact social interaction and overall well-being. Living or working in environments that lack this aesthetic appeal or character can lead to a lack of inspiration and creativity. Individuals may even struggle to feel inspired or motivated in such settings. Now, what could that lead to, I wonder? When I got home from Amsterdam, it gave me inspiration to want to paint the scenic views that I had seen there. I've not felt like that in a long time about anything. I wrote and create videos in Prague that you can find on this channel, all because I was inspired to do so in a picturesque place. In Greece, I wanted photos of the amazing columns that I was overwhelmed with seeing in person. There's a running theme here though. At home, I'm nowhere near as inspired by my surroundings as when I'm exploring somewhere new. So what does this do to us? Poorly designed buildings with less ventilation, lighting, or accessibility features can negatively impact our physical health. Issues like poor air quality or uncomfortable temperatures can affect our overall well-being. Maybe it's something that hadn't have crossed your mind. But architecture plays a role in shaping our sense of identity and attachment to a place. When surrounded by unremarkable or uninspiring buildings, we may feel disconnected from our surroundings and a lack of sense of place identity. Had it crossed your mind that it might be so uninspiring that buildings could reach a state of neglect? If a building near your house had been neglected, what would normally happen to it? Our safety and security becomes an open threat. If someone who shouldn't be there moves in, how would you feel walking the streets, for example? Could a new squat be produced into that neglected building next door? Would this produce more crime? Would crime rates spike? Probably. Perhaps the people in charge have never thought of the true repercussions of what poor architecture can do in regards of negative emotion, stress, and a sense of disconnection from our environment. Or maybe they have, and it's done on purpose. It's not so mad these days to assume that. Conversely, well-designed and thoughtfully crafted buildings can enhance mental well-being, promote positive emotions, and contribute to a sense of belonging and inspiration. Architecture plays a crucial role in shaping our daily experiences and overall quality of life. It is time that we seek more in the bricks and mortar all around us. Travel to places to get a real sense of what you're missing. You will not regret it. Thanks very much for watching. If you got anything from us, make sure you like and subscribe down below. I like to find answers to things of what I think. I have a thought and then I have to find the answer. That's why I travel. That's why I look at things in a different way. That's why I try to explore what these things are all about. And I hope you got something from this. If you did, like I said, like and subscribe. Hopefully see you on the channel very, very soon in another video, whatever that may be. Cheers.